I think it's a very important question, and that tees it up well. And it's not just Andrew Ross Sorkham's amazing turnaround. I don't know if people are thinking it was sleepless delirium, that in 3 o'clock in the morning, he was still 4 o'clock in the morning having discussions with us yesterday.
I'm sure there are some who read it and thought it was sleepless delirium, Jeff, but whatever.
And probably Michelle, who just lurched forward on that. But seriously, I think that it is a brilliant question to ask, that there is a role for a leader to be more than just a convener, a difference of opinions, but to actually take positions of conscience. Now, if it's a private company, say a company that is like Chick-fil-A, that can take positions of conscience, privately owned, that's fine. If it's publicly owned, I know you're representing other owners' interests that may not all agree. Still, you should touch base with your board to make sure that the board supports your position on this, and that this is a statement of the CEO's character and the company's brand. And if shareholders don't like it, they can sell or they can change the leadership. But they should get involved. And I think there's a big distortion, Tyler, in what historically has been the role of the U.S. business community. The U.S. business community has been involved in social issues as far back as we can think. Most recently, when you take a look at the Religious Freedom Acts, as they were euphemistically called, in the last couple of years, you've had companies from Apple to AT&T to Walmart, UPS, jumping on board to making sure that we didn't create intolerance in state-by-state laws. That was, I think, very impressive, admirable, but it wasn't by a vote of shareholders to get involved. When you go back to the founding of the Business Roundtable, they were created to do just this. They were not the Chamber of Commerce, not the National Association of Manufacturers, but those progressive business leaders, they're the ones who created the environmental legislation we refer to as Superfund. It was business leaders. The Foreign Corrupt Practices Act, they're the ones who created it. They said we're competing on unequal playing fields. We want to know when we're dealing with international power, international exchanges, that we play by the same rules. And I mean,
there's shareholder power here. In other words, investors can say, I'm not going to invest in a gun company. I'm not going to invest in a tobacco company. I'm not going to invest in an alcohol company. I'm not going to invest in a company like Walmart that sells guns, or Dick's Sporting Goods that sells guns. There are customers who can say, I'm not shopping at Walmart if you continue to sell guns. And then there are corporations like Walmart, like Dick's, that could say, we're getting out of that line of business.
Exactly.
We had on yesterday the former head of Walmart of the United States, and I paraphrase here, and I hope I'm not getting him wrong. He made the case that there's a problem to be solved with respect to the sale of weapons in this country, but that it is better for a responsible retailer operating scrupulously under the laws of the localities in which it operates to be in that business than it is to get out of that business and leave the landscape open to less maybe reputable, scrupulous retailers who aren't as careful about compliance, who aren't videotaping every transaction.
I saw that interview. It was a very good interview, and he also acknowledged that Walmart got out of the AR-15 years ago. They don't sell that assault weapon. And in fact, in 1934, with the support of the business community, the National Firearms Act passed, banning the use of similar machinery. You know, the Thompson submachine gun, the Tommy gun. As that was banned and was supported by the Second Amendment, some of these assault weapons too could be banned. If we have, the U.S. is 5% of the world's population and a third of the mass shootings, something, and 25 times the rest of the industrialized world. Something's wrong here. Business leaders can take a stand. They can make a difference. The argument you just suggested was the when in Rome argument, living by the local rules and customs. No, you can set a higher standard as a business leader. When General Motors
you can. And then on the other hand, Jeff, obviously there would certainly be a constituency of just, I don't mean to single out Walmart, but since they were here yesterday, I guess I do. There would be a constituency of people who say, well, now listen, if you take out a position on this and pull out of selling guns, I'm not going to do business with you, or I'm not going to invest with you because it's a legal product, and you're taking a political stance that I don't agree with.
And if I could add to that, Jeff, I covered the mass shootings in France, where those guns are completely illegal, and yet there they are, right? Wouldn't it be better to know where these people got their guns through a legitimate retailer instead of When people want something, even if it is prohibited, they will get it. Whether it's drugs, whether it's guns, always.
That's an argument for you're allowing people to have their own howitzers or whatever, everything short of nuclear proliferation, which is illegal. If we're going to let, I mean, is there no limit to the artillery we let somebody have in their backyard? A hunter will tell you that, you know, an AR-15 is not one of the top 20 weapons that would be preferred for a deer hunter. In fact, as Senator Dick Durbin said, if you need an
that wasn't
an
the point that I was making. That wasn't the point that I was making. You can prohibit them, you can make them illegal, and yet they still exist and will still get used by criminals.
Yes, and there's still millions of them out there, but you start somewhere. You know, we're not going to stop all murders. We're not going to stop all thefts. People will still run out of a restaurant without paying. Does it mean you don't try to enforce it? Yes, you try to enforce it to the best of your ability, starting somewhere.
Hey there, thanks for checking out CNBC on YouTube. Be sure to subscribe to stay up to date on all of the day's biggest stories. You can also click on any of the videos around me to watch the latest from CNBC. Thanks for watching.